Welcome to Mark Spreadsheet, version 26 and newer. Mark Spreadsheet is a sophisticated Microsoft Excel spreadsheet designed to help Canadians run retirement projections. Although the spreadsheet is sophisticated, entering your data is relatively straightforward. The spreadsheet is designed to be usable by anyone who is comfortable enough with their finances to do their own taxes. The spreadsheet runs on Microsoft Excel 2010 and newer, on PC and Mac, with macros enabled, and can be downloaded from markspreadsheet.com. Navigating retirement requires a goal and a plan. Examples of goals include ensuring you have enough cash to live your desired retirement lifestyle, giving to children or charity while you're still alive, or through your estate, spending your last dollar on the day you die, or some combination of these. Creating a plan to reach your goal involves making a number of decisions. How much you need to save for retirement while still working. When to retire. How much you need or want to spend when retired. How to draw down your investment accounts. And when to start your pensions, including CPP and OAS. All of these decisions have financial and tax implications. The choices you make can take you closer to, or further from your retirement goal. Mark Spreadsheet is designed to help you make these decisions while minimizing taxes and maximizing the funds available to you in retirement, or to your estate. Using financial data that you enter, the spreadsheet runs projections for the next 50 years showing the long-term effect of your decisions. Before we get into data entry, let's have a look at the dashboard worksheet, where you will run your projections. A projection includes income, expenses, taxes, and account activity for the next 50 years. The projection summary boils your projection down to a projection status and key numbers from the end of the final year of your projection. This will be the earlier of 50 years from now, or when the last spouse is projected to die, whichever comes first. Beside the projection summary is the Optimize and Test section. Optimization helps you make financial decisions, and then you can test your projection to see how it handles different conditions. We will see how this section works later in the tutorial. On the left, the Plan section contains information about your retirement choices. Make changes in this section, and the effect of your choices are immediately shown in the projection summary and on the charts. The charts show all years of your projection at once. There is a lot going on in the Cashflow chart, but understanding it is key to knowing where money is coming from, where it goes, and how excess cash is invested to optimize your estate. We will cover the Cashflow chart later in the tutorial. The Accounts and Debt chart shows how your account balances change over time. This chart shows how your accounts are drawn down, and if you go into debt at any point in your projection. For those not familiar with the term, net worth is what you own, less what you owe. This chart shows projected net worth for each person. Since the principal residence is shared between spouses, and often a large component of net worth, it is shown separately on the chart. Net estate value is what is left after you die. It assumes all assets are sold, all debts and taxes are paid, and life insurance is paid out. When a single person or the last surviving spouse dies, any remaining amount in an RRSP or RIF is typically taxed at the highest rate, about 50%. One strategy for managing this tax liability is to draw down your RRSP or RIF accounts earlier in retirement. Mark Spreadsheet can help with these projections. I'm now going to show you how to enter your own data into Mark Spreadsheet. This is what a fresh download of the spreadsheet looks like. This is the Start Here worksheet. Check the top of the worksheet for any error messages. In this case, the spreadsheet is telling us that we must enable macros. Macros are a Microsoft Excel programming feature and must be enabled for the optimizers to run and for the spreadsheet to work correctly. Enabling macros is done differently for each version of Excel. Go to the link provided to learn how to enable macros for your version of Excel. Depending on how you enable macros, you may need to do this each time you open the spreadsheet. In the case for Microsoft 365 on Windows, you get a security warning up top. Simply click the Enable Content button. You also need to click Yes in a dialog to make the spreadsheet a trusted document. You will notice that once I have done that, the warning message disappears. There is a 15-day free trial to make sure the spreadsheet is right for you. After that, you will need to purchase a license key from our website. License keys are valid for 1 year and work with any new versions of the spreadsheet released during that time. Blue help buttons are available throughout the spreadsheet. Click on any of them to open our website and learn more about the relevant topic. Under Instructions, click Step 1 to activate the Data Entry Worksheet. The Data Entry Worksheet contains 2 white columns, one for each person and a couple. If you are a single person, leave the second column blank. Replace any default data with your own. This is important. The spreadsheet distinguishes between blank cells with nothing in them and cells containing zeros. Read and carefully follow the instructions at the right side of each row. Rather than repeating the descriptions for each cell in this video, I will describe only the key cells and areas where people sometimes run into trouble. Enter each person's name in the name cells. This identifies the person on other worksheets within the spreadsheet. For a single person, make sure the second name is left blank. Complete the remaining cells in the personal info section. Enter dates in the format specified. Note that one advantage of Mark's spreadsheet as opposed to an online service is that your data remains totally private and under your control. The Accounts section is one place where people sometimes run into trouble. The spreadsheet asks you to enter rates of return for the various accounts and asset classes. These percentages are used throughout your entire projection, so you want to enter values that are representative of the long term. Choose wisely and conservatively. A link from FP Canada is provided for your reference. Enter rates of return for all accounts that you currently hold, and for accounts that may be created for you in the future. For example, an RRSP must be converted to a RIF account in the year you turn 71. Also consider that accounts may transfer to the other spouse in the event that one spouse passes away. If you have multiple accounts of the same type, add the balances together and enter all amounts in Canadian dollars. Your non-registered investment accounts require a bit more information so taxes can be calculated properly. Break down your accounts into Canadian equities, foreign equities, interest-bearing investments like GICs and bonds, and cash. The spreadsheet assumes that the relative breakdown of these asset classes remains the same throughout the projection. For example, if you have 50% Canadian equities and 50% foreign equities, the spreadsheet maintains this 50-50 split, as money is added and removed from your account. ACB stands for Adjusted Cost Base and refers to the amount you paid for your investments. It is sometimes referred to as book value on your statements. Click Step 2 to activate the dashboard. I have preloaded data for a couple that is still working and plans to retire at age 65. We have seen an overview of the dashboard earlier in this tutorial, but now I will describe the fields where you enter your retirement decisions. Hover over any cell with a red indicator for a description of that field. Under the Plan section you can see the age each person turns this year. In this case, Jack will turn 52, and Jill will turn 51. Enter the planned retirement age for each person in the next row. The spreadsheet assumes that the person retires at the end of the month when their birthday occurs, so in this case, Jack would retire at the end of the month when he turns 65. If you want to do succession planning, you can enter a lifespan. The spreadsheet assumes the person passes away at the end of that calendar year. In this example, if we want to check if Jill will be cared for if Jack passes away at age 80, we can enter 80 in Jack's age at death and the charts update accordingly. Notice that, because of good tax planning, all of Jack's net worth passes to Jill when he dies. In this scenario, the only future income that's lost is Jack's OAS, and Jack's CPP is replaced by a lesser CPP survivor benefit. From the charts it looks like Jill will be well cared for financially. If you want to do planning for a typical lifespan, let's say age 85 years, and you want to optimize the estate that you leave at age 85, you can enter that lifespan for both spouses. Notice that the final year in the projection summary and the charts update accordingly, stopping when the last spouse turns 85. The horizontal axes of the charts show the ages of both spouses, and then when Jack passes away, only Jill's age is shown. You can change from ages to years by using the drop-down in the projection summary. Retirement, death, and downsizing of your principal residence and/or budget are called life events and are shown as small black triangles on the charts. You can see that the retirement age for each person is indicated as well as the projected death of each person. We're going to plan for longevity for Jack and Jill, so I'm going to enter Jack's and Jill's lifespans as 100 years. That will take us to the year 2075. Under the budget section, enter your annual budget. This is your annual spending, excluding charitable donations, income taxes, mortgage and other debt payments, and RRSP contributions. Simply hover over the title to be reminded of what is included and not included. The spreadsheet increases this amount by inflation every year, and it's shown by the blue bars on the negative side of the cashflow chart. Charitable donations are specified as a percentage amount on top of your annual budget, so in this case with an annual budget of $65,000, charitable donations of 10% equals $6,500. Your emergency fund is specified as a number of months of expenses. Expenses include your annual budget, charitable donations, mortgage payments, and RRSP contributions. In this particular case, Jack and Jill have chosen to keep 6 months of their expenses in an emergency fund. The total amount is shown on the right, and the spreadsheet attempts to keep this amount, adjusted annually, in your savings accounts. The spreadsheet needs an estimate for inflation. The percentage you specify here should be representative of expected annual inflation over the next 50 years. It is hard to estimate, but that's the nature of retirement planning. The Bank of Canada aims to keep the inflation rate close to 2%, with varying success. We will use 3% as an example. You can experiment with different inflation rates to see how your projection responds. The Consumer Price Index or CPI for the previous year is shown for reference. Now we need some additional information about your principal residence. In the following sections, because it is easier to budget and estimate in current year dollars, amounts are entered in current year dollars even though they will be paid or collected in the future. The spreadsheet uses the inflation rate you specified above to convert your entries to future year dollars. The spreadsheet allows for 2 downsize or upsize events. Downsizing or upsizing can involve your budget and/or your principal residence. Often retirees will downsize from the family home to something smaller, either owned or rented, and then do a second downsize later in life as they need additional care. Enter the year that the downsize or upsize occurs. For example, 2040 and 2060. If you're planning to buy again, enter your new budget and the amount that you are planning to spend on a new residence, in current year dollars. Leave the price of new residence blank if you are only changing your budget. In this particular case, Jack and Jill's plan is to downsize in the year 2040 and spend $500,000 on a new residence. This will be a smaller property with fewer expenses, so they have estimated that their new annual budget will be $50,000 in current year dollars. For the second downsize in the year 2060, Jack and Jill are not planning to buy another residence, likely because they're moving into care or perhaps into a rental apartment, so they have set the purchase amount to 0. In that case, they'll have care or rent payments that will increase their budget. They have estimated $95,000 in current year dollars as their new budget. Enter estimates for your own situation or leave the years blank. For the purposes of this demo, I'm going to assume that Jack and Jill want to remain in their home, so I'm going to clear the downsize years. Enter your annual mortgage interest rate, number of payments per year and the payment amount, and the spreadsheet will calculate your mortgage payments for you. The spreadsheet also allows you to enter a reverse mortgage. A reverse mortgage may be used if you plan to remain in your home. With a reverse mortgage, you can receive a one-time and/or series of payments. You are not required to repay the mortgage until you sell your home or pass away, whichever happens first. Be aware that interest rates on reverse mortgages are typically higher than conventional mortgages. Both spouses must be 55 plus to obtain a reverse mortgage, and the payments may not exceed 55% of the value of your home. If you are planning to use the optimizer, you can skip the pensions, registered retirement funds and tax strategies, as the optimizer will find the best values for you. otherwise you can enter values and watch the projection summary and the charts update in real time. One of the strengths of Mark's spreadsheet is that you can try a decision and see the effect of that decision right away. For example, Jack has the option of taking CPP at any age between 60 and 70. First, let's note Jack and Jill's net estate value of $1.16 million. Net estate value is what is left after you die. It assumes that both spouses have passed away, all assets are sold, all debt and final taxes are paid, and any life insurance is collected. You can consider it to be your entire projection summed up in one number. All income streams, all expense streams, all taxes, all transfers between accounts, and the time value of money. Now, let's try starting Jack's CPP at age 60 and see what happens. Notice that the net estate value went from $1.16 million down to $1.04 million, so this may not be a good decision for Jack if he lives to age 100. Similarly, if we enter age 70, we can see that the net estate value goes up to almost $1.24 million, a better decision if Jack lives to 100. Note that the projection summary can be shown in future or current year dollars by changing the pop-up. Current dollars are also called net present value. It is easier to visualize, for example, what $1.2 million means today than what $5.4 million will mean in 2075. Let's go back to the typical age for CPP, 65. Note that Jack and Jill's current plan is to take both CPP and OAS at the typical retirement age of 65. Also note that Jack and Jill's current plan is to not make any further contributions to their RRSPs and to only withdraw the required minimums from their RIF accounts once they retire. Step 3 is to optimize and test the projection. Under their current plan, Jack and Jill's net estate value is projected to be $1.16 million in the year 2075. Let's see if the optimizer can help us improve that. Click the Optimize button. The optimizer experiments with different RRSP contributions and withdrawals, and the ages at which CPP and OAS are started, in an attempt to maximize your estate in the final year. That's a lot of variables, and it would take you a long time on your own to fiddle with all of them to find a good solution. However, the optimizer can do that for us. Note that the optimizer is trying different values for both RRSP contributions and withdrawals, and is also trying different pension ages for CPP and OAS. It's searching for promising candidates that maximize Jack and Jill's estate, and then it will try to refine those candidates. Let's let the optimizer run to completion. The optimizer finished in about a minute. The time is dependent on your computing hardware, how many other programs you have running, and if you keep the spreadsheet in the foreground while it is calculating. In that minute, it projected Jack and Jill's income and expenses, taxes, and account activity for the next 50 years, and did that about 200 times with different options, looking to maximize the net estate value. Notice that the optimizer has filled in suggested retirement fund contribution and withdrawal amounts, set contribution and withdrawal strategies, and increased the CPP and OAS starting ages to 70. The best news of all is that these changes have increased Jack and Jill's estate in the year 2075 from $1.16 million to $1.56 million, an increase of roughly 35%. Pretty impressive. You will also notice that the optimizer has presented Jack and Jill with some options. Jack and Jill can retire earlier, spend more, or give more. Clicking the arrow next to any of these options will apply it to their plan, and update their projection accordingly. Click the Test button to subject the projection to a variety of stress tests. The Account Withdrawals Test determines how much money could be removed from your accounts in the first year of your projection, and, should the rest of the projection play out as planned, you would not go into debt by the final year of your projection. In other words, your account balances would be near zero but not below. The Account Total Return Test checks how much of a reduction in your rates of return that your projection can tolerate, and the Inflation Test determines the highest sustained inflation rate your projection can survive. The Longevity Tests check if the projection can survive if one or both partners live to 100 years of age. You can think of these tests as determining the robustness or slack in your projection. Applying any of the options suggested by the optimizer will use up most, if not all of the available slack in your projection, by reducing your account balances to near zero in the final year of your projection. Any real estate that you own, including your principal residence, is not factored into these tests. If you want these options to leave some money in your accounts, you can enter a value in Accounts Target and run the optimizer again. The cash flow chart is key to understanding how your retirement is funded and how excess funds are invested to optimize your estate. Sources of cash are shown as positive values and include employment and pension income, account withdrawals, and other income that you specify. Uses of cash are shown as negative values and include your budget, charitable donations, taxes, loan payments, account deposits, and other expenses that you specify. In any given year, sources of cash and uses of cash are equal. The red lines on the positive and the negative sides of the chart show your total expenses. Expenses include your budget, charitable donations, loan payments, and other recurring expenses that you specify. Any amount on the positive side that exceeds your expenses is excess cash. Amounts on the negative side exceeding your expenses show how that excess cash is used to pay taxes and make deposits to your accounts. Using data that you specify in the plan section of the dashboard, the spreadsheet moves money between accounts in an attempt to maximize your estate. As shown in the example above, a common strategy is to move funds from RRSP and RIF accounts early in retirement into TFSAs to minimize your future tax burden. In the event that your retirement withdrawal strategy does not withdraw enough cash to meet expenses, and there are insufficient funds in your other accounts to cover the balance, the spreadsheet will draw from an overdraft account. This will result in interest being charged until the overdraft is repaid. Withdrawals and deposits to your overdraft account are shown as red bars on the chart. The spreadsheet deposits excess cash as follows. To satisfy your RRSP contribution strategy. To repay any overdraft. Into savings until your emergency fund is full. Into your TFSA up to your contribution limit. And any remainder goes into your non-registered investment account. Jack and Jill's current projection is showing as funded. That means, with the assumptions they have entered, their projection has enough funds to make it to the final year. Watch what happens when I increase Jack and Jill's annual budget to $80,000. The projection summary now shows that they are house poor. This means that they own their own home but they have gone into debt to live there. See the red bars in the charts, indicating that their overdraft account has been used. Jack and Jill should consider downsizing or taking out a reverse mortgage to access the equity in their home. When I increase Jack and Jill's annual budget to $90,000, the projection summary shows that their plan is underfunded. Downsizing their home or taking a reverse mortgage is not sufficient in this case. Jack and Jill will need to reduce their annual budget or work longer to make up the deficit. Before we wrap up this tutorial, I would like to introduce the Snapshot Worksheet. Click on Step 4, or the Snapshot tab to access this worksheet. While the dashboard gives an overview of all years of your projection, the snapshot provides detail for a single year. Simply enter the desired year, say 2030, and the snapshot will update with that year's numbers. Income and expenses, cash flow, account activity, and changes in net worth and net estate value are all shown. If you change your projection by changing an entry in the dashboard's plan section, the snapshot will update accordingly. Now, for a dose of reality. 50 years is a long time. Think back 50 years to what things were like in the 1970s, when the average house price was $30,000. Inflation has a huge effect on prices. Interest rates and investment returns have varied considerably. We've had a number of financial crises, and there have been substantial changes to the tax code. I also bet that your personal circumstances have changed significantly, but the fact that you are here means that you adapted along the way. All this to say that the longer the projection runs, the more uncertainty there is. It is a good idea to rerun your projection each year with the latest spreadsheet, and to maintain enough flexibility in your plan so you can easily adapt to changing circumstances. This ends the video. Be sure to visit our website for more information and subscribe to our mailing list to be notified of new developments with Mark's spreadsheet.